Welcome to the Man Up God's Way podcast, a show that dives into the real, raw, and relevant issues for men and their faith, life, and community. Now, your host, Jody Burkeen.
Thank you guys for joining us today. My name is Jody Burkeen. I'm the founder of Man Up God's Way Men's Ministry and the host of the Man Up God's Way podcast. And today is a one-on-one with Ryan Beck from pray.com. I'm excited to have him as my guest. Ryan, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jody, for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Well, glad you could join us today. And again, folks, this is one of our one-on-one episodes. When I get an opportunity just to sit down one-on-one with a guest that has something that ties into our Christian faith and to our growing as Christians. And so Ryan is one of the co-founders of pray.com. It's an app that is, and I'll let him tell about it, but I've been on it for a little bit and checking him out. But first of all, before he gets into the app, Ryan, what I'd really like to do is just let everybody hear your story. We always teach people to have a 2-minute, a 10-minute, and a 45-minute version of their testimony ready because that's sometimes the best opportunity that they get to share Jesus Christ. They may not know the Bible, they may not know the gospel really well, but they heard the gospel, the Holy Spirit changed their life, and that's where they are today. So if you could just give us your testimony. And you can start back as far as you want, and you can give as much detail as you want.
All right. Sounds good. Should I aim for the 2 or the 10?
Yeah, go for the
45.
10. It's up to you, brother. We got all the time in the world here.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, I think that I will go back to the very beginning.
Perfect.
So my mom raised me as a single mom. I was born in a town called Norwalk, California, which is South LA. And I was very fortunate to have a mom that had the foresight to want to give me opportunities that she didn't have. And so Norwalk was not the best of environments for her growing up. She came from a very poor family, and you're talking like shack with cockroaches. It was not pleasant.
Wow.
But you know what? She did as the best she could with what she was dealt. And we weren't raised particularly religious. I did go to the local preschool, which was a Lutheran preschool. And later on, my grandma, who we lived with, my Nana, faith became more and more important in her life. Right. And that's going to be more and more important to my story as well. And so we get an opportunity when I'm about 5 years old to move up to Thousand Oaks, California, which is on the north end of LA County. And it's actually in Ventura County. And it's, if you know anything about the rankings of the safest places in the country, Thousand Oaks is top 5 usually every year, top 10. It's a great place. It's the suburbs. Right. And so my mom has an opportunity to move in with her sister. And so we move up there, we got a little room, and she sees this as an opportunity to give me opportunities that she didn't have. Great school systems and all that. And so she does what she can to get by, to keep us in the area, and she does. Go to school out there, and part of extracurricular activities during elementary school, I'm playing basketball, I'm playing sports. I'm doing great. I'm thriving in this environment. And she's working hard. That's full day's work, and then doing everything she can just to keep me doing well at school. Well, that worked well in elementary and even part of junior high because there were a lot of aids that she got from the state and federal government for after school care for kids in that age range. But come eighth grade, those opportunities weren't there anymore.
Wow.
And they weren't, and we were in a low income area. And so all the kids in my area now we have no after school supervision, basically.
Right.
We're all products of single mothers right now,
Right.
of broken families, and our moms are doing the best they can to raise us. But you get all these kids, mostly boys, unsupervised in 8th grade, trying to figure out how to be men in the world.
Right.
And well, boys, as you know, they don't make the best of decisions generally when they're in groups. And that was not any exception to us. So we made some dumb decisions. We got involved in, smoking pot. It started off with, and hanging out with some local gang members. Even though it is a nice area, it's still Southern California, and it's still a relatively bigger city. And so there's still some crime that happens, and there's some gangs. And so we started hanging out with that crowd. Well, fast forward through high school, I started getting more involved in this culture, this gang and drug culture, and I ended up getting arrested. Actually, got kicked out previously in high school, sent to what's called a continuation school, and but then I made it back to the main high school, and then I got arrested actually out of high school because of a fight. And so I was just making bad decision after bad decision. And eventually I end up, graduating. I graduated high school, but I started getting into selling drugs. And mind you, not involved in any faith community at all. My mom's not. She's doing what she can to get by. And I end up getting arrested when I'm 18 years old. And I go into jail for sales and transportation of narcotics. And things were actually going to plan. I was hanging out with rough people and doing rough things, and I was about to be even tougher. That's just the environment that you in. So I wasn't off course according to the plans that I had. I was perfectly on course. They weren't very good plans, but I was on course. And I get there, and I'm this young guy who thinks I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'7". I think I'm tougher than I am. But I was very fortunate to have some people that in jail came around me and, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Right.
You can do something with yourself. You don't have to go down this path. And someone put it to me like this: you can be a big shot in the golf course or a big shot in the pen. And when he said that, I said, well, that sounds pretty dumb to be a big shot in the pen. I don't play golf, but I get the point. And so I, through other people just ministering to me with scripture saying, hey, read this, check out this, research this in the Bible. So I started reading the Bible more. And I remember one night praying to God and saying, God, if I don't really know about this whole Jesus thing. I don't believe that, I don't believe in him. My heart's hard. And those were my words. And those are very Christian words. But those were my words that night. And I remember waking up, and I just had this profound confidence that Jesus was the one I'm supposed to follow. Can't explain it, except for I just knew that Jesus was real, and he is the one I'm supposed to follow. And I knew things had to change in my life. I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I knew I needed to probably start developing new friendships. Well, I actually got out about 2 to 3 weeks later. And I had some friends that, we were all doing the same thing. I went right back to those friends because that's what I knew. And that's how people who go to jail end up back in jail. Is that you go back to the same environment. Nothing changes when you get out. You may have changed, but the world didn't change. It's waiting
still
for
the
you.
Same. Yeah.
And it conforms you. And so I was very fortunate. God was working different plans. And my neighbor next to me, he was stirring on her heart to reach out to me. And she was my mother's age, and she saw the whole thing develop, the raid of my apartment and the people that I was hanging out with. So she was a little hesitant to communicate with me, but God stirred it on her heart to just invite me to church. Simple gesture. And she did. And I said, you know what? I'd love to go. And so I ended up going to a church called Calvary Chapel Thousand Oaks. And the local pastor there, Pastor Rob, who would later become very influential in just helping me develop my kind of new framework and new way of looking at the world. And so I started attending there, and then God would bring in other people around me to invite me to church. So one of my friends who was doing the same things, he got saved, and he invited me to his church. It's a Victory Outreach Church in Simi Valley, California. And it's a little different, very Pentecostal there. And then one of my old friends from high school, she invited me to her Catholic, and it was like a Pentecostal Catholic, but just amazing believers there. And so I was developing new friendships, and I was surrounding myself with different counsel. And fortunately, I was able to start making these new friendships and these new inroads into faith. And I started getting involved at the local church. They saw that. They said, "Hey, why don't you think about going to Bible college? We'll sponsor part of it. You have to pay the other part." So I said, "Sounds good. I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm going to the community college, and I know I need to get an education because I was a knucklehead in high school." So I ended up going to Bible college. And really for me, most people go there to train to become in the ministry. And so I did that, but it was much more than that for me. It was foundational. And so, and so I got to lay down this kind of biblical foundation, this big biblical worldview of how am I supposed to love God and love my neighbor? Like, how is that supposed to be practical in my life? And so I did that, went there, and a lot of friends were like, "Oh yeah, God's calling me to become a pastor." I never got that calling, but I pursued, I pursued to work in the ministry. That was part of the deal. I'd go and work in the ministry afterwards for some time. So I did that. And I realized becoming a minister or a pastor, not for me. Love the church and love being a part of that, but that wasn't my calling. And God opened up other doors for me. And I finished up my, let's call it a secular education at Calvary College, where I got a bachelor's degree in computer science and philosophy. I love philosophy, but it doesn't pay the bills. So when I retire, I got something in the quiver, but computer science pays the bills. But the one thing about having a computer science degree in this time, jobs are abundant, except for if you have a felony on your record for selling narcotics. So I couldn't get a job at Starbucks, Taco Bell. It's tough. It's a real thing.
Right. Yeah, it is.
And so I was applying for these jobs. I'd get far in the interviews, and then they would, ask that one question, and, I'm going to be honest on it. And I would either get no thank you or no call back or anything is, so but I was very fortunate to work at a company called Mission India, a nonprofit, a faith organization that understood the grace of God and how he works in people's lives to transform them. And so they gave me a shot. And so I got to put my computer science skills to work for an amazing purpose. So that was actually very pivotal in me understanding how I can take these skills that God has entrusted to me, who's given me these opportunities to build these very practical skills. How can I use them in a purposeful way? And I got to do it in a way that really impacted people's lives. Mission India does great work in India and also the greater Asia area, doing secular philanthropic efforts, like helping people start their own businesses, women with literacy and business development skills, and also faith-oriented philanthropic efforts, and such as church planting, raising up pastors, and things like that. So I got to do just tremendous work for them, and it's very practical. If I were to describe what I did, you'd be like, But the impact I was having was much more than just writing code. And so that kind of fast forwards me to my encounter with an old friend called Steve Gattina. He is the CEO of Pray.com, one of the co-founders, and my business partner here at Pray.com. And we went to junior high and high school together. Now, in high school, he went the All-American route. He went to USC, played for Pete Carroll, won a Rose Bowl. I went the America's Most Wanted route, and so we kind of diverged.
That's great.
But we were friends, and we knew each other. And I ran into him here in town, and we're just catching up. Hey, how are things going? I was thinking about transitioning with a deeper interaction with Mission India. Or pursuing something else. I was going to either move to Michigan and interact there and help them build out their local engineering team, or I was going to pursue something here in California. I was also dating my wonderful wife at that time, who is from Southern California. So the prospects of moving to Michigan were not all that appealing to
Not
her.
good.
And so, but she helped me through prayer and just seeking the counsel of the Lord and where should we go. And then God brings in this new opportunity. And so I ended up talking with Steve and Mike and Matt, who are also my co-founders here at pray.com. And we decided in 2016, let's do something with pray.com. And it started off, just a bunch of ideas, but really the catalyst was Steve envisioned this ESPN for faith.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to find faith content. He wasn't a believer at this time, and he had a tragedy that hit his life. And he's like, I'm just trying to, I got a friend that sent me a podcast from this pastor, and it really rocked my world. It really helped me during the time, and I can't find this content. How can I find where there should be a place where I can go to find this content, and I don't have to sift through all the YouTube videos or all the social media posts.
Right.
It's just for faith. It's a huge niche, even though it's a niche, it's huge. And so that was kind of the catalyst, and we kind of refined it from there. And we knew that we wanted to do something positive, wanted to help people leave a legacy of helping others and help people grow their faith and cultivate community. And so we've been able to put that into practice with the application that we have, pray.com, where we get to deliver amazing biblical content to Christians all around the world, such as James Earl Jones reads the Bible. We get to partner with amazing pastors such as Dr. Tony Evans, Pastor Jack Graham, and so many others, and different celebrities like Drew Brees or Lecrae. And so we just got this huge opportunity, but it's also a huge responsibility for us to do something incredible for the kingdom and to really help Christians all across the world grow their faith and cultivate community. And so that's kind of the summary, the snippet of pray.com and my testimony and how it leads to that point.
That's awesome. What an amazing testimony. I was sitting here thinking, how many people didn't have the opportunity? I've met quite a few people and, who came from prison. And a lot of times in prison, they're really the only thing they have to do is either exercise or read. And you kind of get to this place where you're either, somebody's going to encourage you to read the Bible, or all you're going to do is exercise. So you either come out physically strong or spiritually strong. But a lot of times, like what you said, is you may have changed in prison, but you didn't, the world hasn't changed. And if you don't change your surrounding and your mindset and your friends, a lot of times you'll end up back in that same situation. And so when you said that if it weren't for a lady living next door to you, that invited you to church, or your pastor, is it Rob or Ron? Rob. So Pastor Rob, who took you under his wing, where would you have been? And I love that story that, it shows, one, that you need church, and two, that you need somebody to come alongside of you to help you grow in the grace and knowledge of Jesus. And if you hadn't have grown like that, would you be where you are today? And I can imagine that you probably thought of those, where would I be if I didn't just go to church, or possibly, obviously God's sovereignty would have put you where you were supposed to be eventually. But I always look at, people who don't take that serious. They hear the gospel message, they give their life to the Lord, and it's kind of like the parable of the sower and the seed. They hear the word of the Lord, but then they sprout up for just a minute, but they never rooted, and the winds take them away. And I hate that other people don't get as grounded and determined as you. And I'm glad that you did, because look at where you are now. And so thank you. Pastor Rob's still alive. I'm glad he did exactly what he did, because that's what they're supposed to do. I'm also a pastor too, a lead pastor of a church, and it's paramount that we understand what discipleship is, because a lot of people hear the gospel, but they don't necessarily aren't grown and rooted into the gospel like they should be. And so I love that part of your story, because that kind of, if you look back on that, it changed the whole trajectory of your life and to where you are today. So I think that's really cool. That's really cool.
I mean, that's the opportunity we get as Christians, right? It comes down to the two great commandments: love God and love your neighbor, right? And
Amen.
that's how we love each other, is we invest in each other's lives. I'm very fortunate. I pray we get to do that at a grand scale, but it's with people that we get to partner with. We partner with some amazing people that are doing this one-on-one at churches, and we get to amplify their
Right.
work. And so it's really that faithfulness that we invest in each other, and we get to live out the gospel message in our day-to-day actions.
That's good. That's good. Well, let's jump into, I love your testimony. I love to hear, people's story about Jesus, coming into their life and, wrecking it in a good way and bringing them into a place of salvation and sanctification. It's awesome to hear that. So let's jump into the app now. So I noticed that you have a bunch of pastors that are a part of the app. How do you guys, and maybe it's in your statement of faith, I didn't get a chance to read that, but how do you guys vet the pastors that are going to be on pray.com?
So, we don't really have a statement of faith, and this is because we're not a church. We're a for-profit company. And so we work with, broadly speaking, Christian pastors and Christian leaders, and not just all pastors. Some of them are just leaders, and some of them are business leaders. And we work with all sorts, all stripes, to help them grow their ministry. And really what we look at is the impact they're making on individuals' lives to help them grow in their faith and cultivate community. That's our mission. And we want to make sure that the people we bring on fit within that mission.
Okay. So you don't necessarily look at their background or their denomination or their faith or anything like that. It's just if you see that they're making an impact.
Yeah, so we're going to stick within the confines of the law, and we're also going to make sure that they're Christian. So that's the audience that we speak of, and that may not be a, you may find somebody on there that is like, oh, I don't, necessarily agree with them, but we are trying not to be the dictators of the content. We're more like a Spotify or a YouTube, where anyone from any background can come on, as long as you identify as Christian, to actually speak on our platform. And so it's not so much where we're true believers in freedom of speech, but we also know it's a Christian platform too. And so we're not trying to actually be the arbiters of truth in that sense.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. I was looking at, your list of pastors that, that show up on the website and within the app. And I was just wondering how you guys did that. I didn't know if that was part of the, if you guys were the gatekeeper, so to speak, trying to, figure out who was going to be on, who wasn't. So let's say that, I'm a pastor, and what if I wanted to be on the app? What do I need to do to be able to get on the app?
Well, there's a couple, depending on the type of agreement that you would want to engage with us on. We have different tiers. So a lot of the leaders that we work with come to us to get a lot of reach, because we are very good about getting Christian audience. And so they come to us to help grow their digital ministry. So a lot of the leaders that we work with are either growing their current digital ministry, or they're looking to go digital in a more broad way. A lot of churches may have a local digital ministry, but it's not really a nationwide. And so we're really good at helping churches come on and build a nationwide or even global digital audience. And so we have a couple of tiers that we help people do that with. We have a radio tier, and then we have a television tier where people can come on and they get dedicated slots on those programming stations. And so that gives you audience for those certain periods. And so we will be able to promote them, get them in, say it's like a radio slot. You buy a 30-minute radio slot every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, you come on, just like if you've heard of Salem. So you do something like that, but we do it in a digital way. So we're purely digital medium. We don't have, the radio towers or
Right.
anything like that. We're built for I'd say the next 20 years, right?
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, that's
and so,
good.
you could do that at different tiers. And sometimes people just want a profile on pray.com. So they partner with us. They're like, hey, I don't want to pay to get on the radio or the TV. I just want to have a profile and have my content available. And so they can do that where it's a little bit lighter of a lift. Maybe they're testing the waters in the digital space. So those are the kind of 3 tiers that we help ministries grow their digital ministry.
Okay, that's cool. So for an example, if I were to take over a radio spot and I had a weekly format or whatever. Now, when I do that, does it go to how many subscribers do you guys have?
So we have millions of audience monthly, and then we have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And so our subscribers are paid, and then we have just our general audience, which reaches into the single-digit millions.
Wow. Holy cow, that's good.
I forgot to mention one thing that we just did, and I'm very excited about it. I don't know why it skipped my mind, but it has to do with podcasts in this regard. So unless you're a Joel Osteen or a Joyce Meyer, your podcast in the faith space, they're not hitting the or you have the Bible in the Ear with Father Mike.
Father, what's his face? Exactly.
Yeah. So those are the 3 podcasts, except for there's a new one with Bible in the Ear with Jack Graham. And so we partnered with him to make this Bible in the Ear podcast. And so we're partnering with these ministries to make these amazing podcasts because we have an incredible, where we shine is tech, marketing, and content or media.
Right.
So that's where we shine, and we shine at the intersection of that for faith. And so we can help you build incredible podcasts. We can help get your current content in front of people. That's where the audience part comes in. And we have the technical infrastructure to help you do all of that, to manage your digital ministry on the back end as well.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I was going to ask if you guys did podcasts, because if you're in the radio sector, so to speak, I mean, that's basically podcast on the internet anyway. So to an extent. So
Well, just to give you a little perspective, the Bible in a Year with Jack Graham does over 100,000, 150,000 downloads a day.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Wow. So it's a big podcast, and it's doing great. And we just look forward to doing more with we have some coming out that are going to be pretty amazing.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I'll have to be watching that as ours grow big time. Yeah. Our podcast is, Facebook is obviously, and YouTube as well has shadow banned most of our stuff, just because we do go after, social and cultural issues with a biblical bent. And, some of our guests that are on are, kind of in that same genre, so to speak. And it's one of those things that Facebook, with 866,000 followers, we still have limited reach on those 866, much less anybody new. And so anytime we do a video or link or anything, man, they just kill us. For a 30-day period, if we just do memes and pictures and, maybe some text, we can get anywhere from 5 to 7 million views or reach, so to speak, from those. But the second we start adding video and audio and links and everything else, it drops down. I mean, even right now, it's still a million a month, but they kill us. It's just so bad. They just make it no fun anymore. Used to, we could be able to put a link. Yeah, we could put a link out there and sell T-shirts and books and have a great time and do all that, and it's no longer like that anymore. So same thing with YouTube. So you guys, yes.
So when I said we're much like YouTube, a platform, minus that part.
Minus that part, yeah, exactly. Well, that's good. That's good.
That's why we're not trying to be the arbiters of truth. We want to be a platform for Christians, and so
that's really good. So if I were to do one, it would go out to everybody and not a limited reach. Is that correct?
Or if you were to do a podcast, with your following and things like that. Yeah. Now there's there's certain things that we will do to help you grow that reach. So that's where we shine. So, you think of something like Facebook or YouTube.
Right.
They're going to, or even Spotify, they're going to help certain people, the top tier of their people, get in front of more people.
Right.
They don't necessarily have any business incentive to help Christian pastors like yourself. Ours, that's why we look at ourselves as we're a platform for Christian audience. So we have a business incentive to get you in front of the Christian audience, because that's what our customers want, because they're your
Right.
customers. Our customers are your customers. And so it's just a match made in heaven, right? So we get to really help align our business goals with your ministry goals. Because we are, like I said, we are a for-profit company.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, that helps you out quite a bit. I meant not being a non-for-profit compared to being a for-profit. It helps you out, especially in the business side of it, and keeps you guys. I like that. I like that. I think a lot of ministry, so to speak, or parachurch ministries, I would consider yours like a parachurch ministry that, want to go into the nonprofit sector, and it limits you on a lot of what you can and can't do. When you have the business side of it, and you're a for-profit, it makes more sense to do something like what you're doing. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So the prayer side of it, I know that you guys have a daily devotion and daily prayer, and when I signed up for the app, it asked me how my prayer life was, and if I wanted to grow my prayer life and learn to meditate and different things like that. I like that. Can you tell me how that works as well?
Yeah. So the daily prayer. So we have a morning prayer, a noon prayer, and a nightly prayer. So if you log in the app, we'll have 3 of those at the top. And really what we're trying to do is we're trying to help people create a daily prayer habit. Now, we define prayer just like you would, but also we throw a little caveat on that, because we think your faith life is more than just prayer, right? As Christians, we believe that. And so you go into the morning prayer, you'll get the morning prayer the first 2 minutes. Cool. But stay tuned. Jack Graham's going to take you through the Bible in a year. Now you can end your session there, or you continue through the Bible in a year. So that's our morning prayer. Has your little bit of a 2-minute prayer to open you up, to inspire you today, connect to God, and then also learn from God with Jack Graham with the Bible in a year. All seamless. And the noon prayer, we help you, and it's more about getting that kind of midday pick me up and midday meditation. Maybe you need to calm yourself, maybe you need to reset, but all with scripture. And so that's the main thing that we provide. So when you come in and you get our original content, you're going to learn the Bible, you're going to grow your faith, you're going to learn the Bible, and you're going to grow with God.
That's
the
good.
Nightly prayer helps you go to sleep, though. So you get a morning prayer, and then we have a bedtime Bible story to put you to sleep.
That's awesome. That is really good. I think that's probably lacking in most Christians' lives, unfortunately. One, they're biblically illiterate, and 2, they don't spend enough time in prayer. I think too many people are trying to get their faith from a pastor or a Sunday morning, and it just doesn't. It's like eating once a week. You're just eventually going to run out of energy and time and motivation. Yeah,
and so that's actually one of the things that, when I think about it, so I oversee the product and the engineering side of things. And so when I think about how can we best come alongside, I think of the story of Aaron and Hur helping hold up Moses's arms, right? So Joseph goes to battle against the Amalekites, and Moses says, "Hey, Joseph, you go fight the battle. I got these rebellious, we just let them out of, Egypt, and everyone's rebelling against me. I don't know what to do, God." So he goes, and God's like, "Trust me." And the Amalekites are on their heels. They're attacking them.
Right.
And Moses says to Joseph, "You go fight the battle. I'm going to go up on this hill, and I'm going to hold my staffs up." Well, Aaron and Hur come alongside Moses, and they help hold his hands up, right? And the story, right? You're the pastor, the story. Yeah. The staff falls, and the battle's getting lost, but then Aaron raises his hands because Aaron and Hur are there to support him.
Right.
And that's how I look at what we do with these ministries. And that's what we do with Christians. We're there to help support you Sunday to Sunday. Your arms get tired. It's hard to minister 7 days a week, but that's where we come in. We help you minister Sunday to Sunday. And so that's where a lot of these pastors are coming in. And we got this great content. Who doesn't want to hear James Earl Jones read them the Bible, right? And you get these lessons. And so that's really what we strive to do, is really give people faith content, biblical faith content Sunday to Sunday, because one time a week isn't enough, right? People who meditate in a secular sense, they start their day, and that really helps them. Well, we have something even stronger than meditation. We have prayer. It helps us not only reflect and calm ourselves, but also connect with God. And so, so we get to do that, and we get to do it through Scripture.
The very first audio Bible I ever bought was James Earl Jones doing the Bible. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. This was back in the day when you could buy a CD. I got saved 20 years ago. I was 33 and gave my life to the Lord. And the very first, I traveled a lot doing sales and sales and stuff like that. And I stick that, DVD in, or CD, listen to it, put a new one in, and would try to go through the Bible. It was pretty cool. So
same here. Same here.
I
was cleaning pools, and so I got the James Earl Jones reads the Bible on CD, and I would just put it in while I was cleaning pools, and I just let the Scripture kind of marinate in my mind as I was traveling. So
he's definitely got a cool voice, a soothing voice to listen to. But every now and then I'd hear, Luke, I'm your father. It'd be like, all right, get back on track. So, but that's really cool. Well, good. So, what's coming down the pipe for Pray.com? Anything other than you talked about the podcast, and it definitely I would love to maybe see how Man Up God's Way could utilize the platform one of these days. And what else do you have coming down the pipe?
So nothing that I can speak to specifics. We like to surprise and delight, but we have some great partnerships that we're working on with some really amazing people in the faith that we're getting close to closing some deals on, and I think it's going to be pretty amazing what we're going to be releasing. We're going to be releasing stuff for kids,
awesome, for
even more bedtime Bible story stuff. The bedtime Bible stories, it's so unique, right? Because Calm, I don't know if you've heard of the app.
Right.
Love the app. Yeah. And it's a secular meditation app, but it really helps millions of people with sleep. And well, that's content that they're helping you fall asleep too. Well, why not do that with Scripture? Why can't you meditate with Scripture to go to bed? It's not an anathema. Right. It's not like you're dozing off for the word of the Lord in a negative sense. You're dozing off for the word of the Lord in a positive sense.
Right. Exactly.
And so I'm excited for some stuff we have launching there. So kids, be on the lookout for some of more bedtime stuff, more kid stuff, meditations, Christian meditations that we'll be launching. We have some pretty amazing content. We're always making updates to the app, always getting feedback from the customers to understand how we can best serve them to grow their faith and cultivate community. So there's always updates coming there. But when it comes to the content side, we have some amazing partnerships that we'll be releasing over the next 3 quarters.
That is great. So 2 questions. If I were wanting to partner with Pray.com, how would I do that as a pastor and as a parachurch ministry leader? How would I get a hold of Pray.com in order to do that?
Yeah, so I'm going to actually give you you can go to pray.com/ministries. And so that's how you would connect with us. And you just book a demo there. Our team will reach out to you, and we'll get you set up on a call to show you all the different opportunities that we have to help you grow your digital ministry. And so that's really what, think about us as how you can get outside of your 4 walls and expand your global ministry, your digital ministry.
Great. All right. So what if I want to download the app? What's the best way to do that?
So you can go to pray.com, or you can go to the App Store on Apple or the Play Store on Google and just search pray.com and download the pray.com app. We
Great.
keep the branding very simple, pray.com.
Pray.com. I love that. I love that. So what does it cost? Is there a monthly subscription fee?
So tons of free content. So
Okay.
you can utilize the app and get tons of amazing content across all the categories. Our daily devotionals, our Bible and Ego Jackgram, all free. And then we do have premium content that you can subscribe to get. It's $7.99 a month or $49.99 a year. And you get James Earl Jones Reads the Bible, more in-depth stories of the Bible, more bedtime content. And so we just expand the content catalog that you would get. But there's tons of free stuff. And then you can also get that premium content if you want to subscribe.
That is great. That is great. Well, we will help you guys promote this. I like it on my end. I think it's a great app to have and great use. I have not used the night prayer thing yet, but I think that I can't wait for you to get the meditation, especially at nighttime. That would be a really good way to go to bed for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Well, brother, it's been a pleasure. Again, like I said, we'll help you promote this on our end. We've got plenty of people that would love to see it, and we'll get it out on our social media, as well as we'll have all the links inside the podcast, as well as any clips that we do from there. So we'll help you guys promote it too.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, brother, thank you so much, and you have a great day. It's good, nice meeting you, and I look forward to hearing some good stuff out of you guys.
All right. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Ryan, Be good, brother. You take it easy and have a great day.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
You've been listening to the Man Up God's Way podcast. Visit us on Facebook, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and our website at manupgodsway.org.